Expectations are always sky high at Ohio State, but the pressure ramps up when you continually lose to Michigan, as Ryan Day has done since he took over as head coach. Day's 1-3 against Michigan and 40-0 against the rest of the Big Ten. Here's what Day had to say about the demanding Buckeye culture.
Every time, I've, gone into a season at Ohio State, I guess this is going to be my 8th season now. 6 as the head coach, you expect to win every game. That's just what it is. And if you don't think that's the case, try losing a game at Ohio State. I mean, you're expected to win them all.
There he is, Paul Finebaum. Okay, Paul, good morning. Great to have you with us. You're up first, my friend. Who will have the better season, Oregon in their first year in the Big Ten, or would you go Ohio State?
I think you have to go Ohio State because of their talent. Now, I think the one deficiency they have is the guy we just heard from, Ryan Day. He's yet to prove very much to me other than he can put a gaudy record up with some of the best talent in the country and still manage to blow some of the biggest games of the year. But Oregon probably is the team you have to be careful about. Dan Lanning is an excellent coach. They have Dylan Gabriel at quarterback. And they also have Ohio State at home.
Paul, you are way too high. We've discussed this. You are way too hard on Ryan Day.
Absolutely.
Go ahead, Steve. Fire away.
Let me say this. Listen, you forgot more college football than I'll ever know. So normally I would defer to you, Mr. Finebaum, my buddy, the mouth of the South. But I don't know what the hell is wrong with you the last few days. I really don't. Ryan Day is 40-0 in the Big Ten outside of Michigan. 40-0. I mean, my God, you talk about him like he needs to be thrown out the pasture. I mean, come on now. Listen, to succeed, Urban Meyer,
it's a hard job.
That's a hard job. That's a hard job. And you got to give credit where credit is due in that regard, Paul. 40-0. The only team you've lost to in the conference in 3 years is Michigan. 40-0?
Plus,
and you talk, come on, Paul.
Plus, Paulie, to be fair,
Stephen A., have you bothered to look and see who some of those wins are over in the Big Ten? Mighty teams like Northwestern and Indiana and Purdue and Iowa. I mean, come on. I mean, don't give me the record. I mean, of all people, getting caught up on numbers. I mean, the Dallas Cowboys have great numbers too. But
In the regular season.
Talk for the last 25 years about their record.
Not in the postseason.
Well, and that's
you raving about how Ohio State looked against Georgia?
No, that was me.
They lost that game. Well, you were raving about it. You brought up the fact that they lost a 14-point lead. My bad, boy. I got you, Paul.
But your point is well taken. They did play Georgia well there, Paul, and they have gotten to 3 Final Fours in his career. I mean, geez, you're making it sound like he's done absolutely nothing. And one other thing, Paul, if I may, between you and me. You're putting Oregon. How many championships has Oregon won? I don't care who the coach is. Chip Kelly, Lanning.
They haven't won any. But Doggy, Oregon is not Ohio State. Ohio State is on an equal footing with Alabama, except for one thing. They haven't won a national championship in 10 years. Alabama's won 3 or 4 since then. They are the same program, except one's up north, one's in the south.
Look at the schedule. Ohio State's got 2 hard games. They got Michigan at home, last game of the year. And they play at Oregon on October 12th. Penn State doesn't count. They beat them all the time. Look at Oregon's schedule, Paulie. You're sharp on this. You're the one who loves the college football. That's the Ohio State schedule. Give me a loss. They're going to beat all these teams. Iowa, Michigan State, Indiana, Northwestern, Purdue, Nebraska. My God, they're going to kill them. Now put the Oregon schedule up. That's what I asked you to before. There you go. Now look at the Oregon schedule up. At Oregon State, that's a war. At UCLA won't be easy. Ohio State at home, at Michigan, at Wisconsin, and Washington. They got a far harder schedule. Oregon's got a hard schedule, Paulie. You got to look at that now in these conferences. They're going to lose 2-3 games. Ohio State's not. That's why Ohio State's going to have a better year.
Yeah, well, By the way, I just got through saying I think that I liked Ohio State. I think Oregon will win out there, and then I believe Ohio State will win in the title game. They're both going to the playoffs, Doggy. So calm down here for a second and quit giving Ryan Day a Lifetime Achievement Award because he choked a 14-point lead in the fourth quarter against Georgia. All he had to do was turn one fourth down into a first down, and he wins that game. But he couldn't do it, and that's my issue with this guy. He's so lucky. He was handed the keys to the Mercedes, and he's got a few scrapes on it. I mean, listen, nobody's had an easier transition than this guy. Urban Meyer quits, and Ryan Day takes over. He's had elite quarterback after quarterback. I mean, you just look in the NFL and see who I'm talking about, and you act like, I mean, we're not talking about Little League here. This is the big time. This is the creme de la creme, Doggy, and my issue with him isn't his record. Good, big deal. He can beat up a bunch of crummy teams. My issue is what happens when he gets to prime time. I can't tell you how many times I've heard you guys say the exact same thing about Dak Prescott. I mean, I think I've heard it 14 times already today. That's all I'm saying about Ryan Day.
Well, let me say this to you, Paul Finebaum. First of all, I don't think the Big Ten is the creme de la creme. My personal opinion is the SEC. That's just me. I can't believe I'm saying that ahead of you. That. I can't believe I'm saying that ahead of you. But nevertheless, we can move on from that.
It's a good league.
Paul Finebaum, I think you know a little thing or two about basketball. You've heard of the name Phil Jackson, right? Heard the name Phil Jackson, right?
Yeah, I've heard.
How many coaches in history have been luckier than him? I get Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen. You understand? Second go around, I got Jordan, Pippen, and Dennis Rodman. Then I get to L.A., I got Shaq and Kobe. I mean, this man, lucky man. And then I got Kobe with Gasol and Bynum. I mean, this is a lucky man. You understand what I'm saying? Now, he delivered big time, many, many times over. I'm just saying, I'm not going to knock Ryan Day for succeeding Urban Meyer. The man 56-8 overall, 39-3 in Big Ten play, 2 Big Ten championships, 3 college football player
go back and check Urban Meyer's record against Michigan, Stephen.
I'm just saying that again, he's got some stuff to prove. I'm not trying to give him a Lifetime Achievement Award, but I'm not trying to throw him out like he deserved to be gone. I mean,
I'm not either. I'm not either, but Urban Meyer didn't lose 3 times to Michigan in his career, and this guy's lost 3 straight. That's what we're talking about here.
Okay.
I just don't understand you guys giving this guy training wheels. I think he's a good coach. I don't think he's an elite coach. But I mean, he's making $12 million a year at Ohio State. Win the big game. That is all I am saying.
Well, again, you and I have discussed this. 2 years ago, they lost to Michigan and then almost beat Georgia in what was a classic. And then Georgia beat the Michigan. And then Georgia beat TCU and beat Michigan.
They almost.
That was Paul.
Almost.
Paul.
Give me something.